Okay, everybody, today we're going to continue doing Doom Eternal predictions, but this one is going to be mainly focused on the enemy side of the game. First things first, this is once again just going to be my predictions, so you might think that these are a bit stupid, or you might agree with me, I don't know. I hope everyone can see my point of view anyway. And a lot of these are quite popular, so I can understand why people talk about these things as well. So most of these are mine, but these are a couple of other ones I picked up on the internet along the way as well. Starting off with the zombie men. Okay, the zombie men have to be different in Doom Eternal because we're not in the sci-fi base anymore. We're on Earth. We're on everyday life now. So it's going to be everyday people. So just civilians, not UAC workers, not soldiers and security. If anything, we're going to go against like the army, even police, like cops, just average workers as well. So we're going to see different zombie men for sure. Are we going to see classic zombie men? This is something that I would love. I predict that we are going to see some kind of new zombie man, but also I would love to see the variants of the old zombie men as well, instead of just one very similar one. So we've got the normal security guard guy, and of course we've got the shield ones, shared security guard ones as well. Pretty much just the same enemy, just obviously with a shield, but the shielded one also had a different attack, which was more of the only hit scan type weapon in the game. So they've not been afraid to use hit scan before. Are we going to see hit scan enemies in Doom Eternal? I don't know. I think we're going to see just kind of the same sort of projectiles as well, but more of like a machine gun style. So instead of that, the red orby plasma bubble things that the soldiers had on Mars, I reckon we could see more of an assault rifle army, where they're holding maybe even shotguns, so like the shotgun guys did, but definitely like assault rifles and other types of machine guns. I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to see, because I'm pretty sure that's what the majority of the soldiers would have had on Earth. Maybe they'll do something a bit different where the soldiers carry pretty much every weapon in the game, so we might see a soldier with a plasma gun, a rocket launcher or something like that along the way. That'd be something kind of cool. It might go a bit too far though and get some overpowered zombie men, but I definitely predict that we're going to see some different zombie men along the way. Now, one I'm going to talk about is something I mentioned briefly some time ago, and a lot of people have commented this as well, is Doom 3 enemies. Are we going to see Doom 3 enemies return? I'm not sure if they're going to work in the style. So enemies like the Cherub, I really can't see working in Doom 2016, or to obviously Doom Eternal mechanics, sort of, which is a lot more hardcore and fast paced when you look at that compared to Doom 3. Enemies like the Maggot could easily work as a weaker variant of the Pinky Demon, so I can see a Maggot being in the game. Maybe we see that. I want to see what they look like anyway. I'm pretty sure they look pretty cool. We've kind of seen the Commander enemies before. Maybe we see a tentacle version of them. I can't stand them enemies, but of course they could return. The little spiders are unlikely as well. So out of all the enemies in Doom 3, like the different ones, I say maybe the Maggot is the most likely. The others, apart from select bosses, possibly are going to be not likely. So I don't know if we'll see them. I don't think we will, but it's always cool to see. If we're going to get double the enemy types, there's always a high possibility that Doom 3 will return. What about Nightmare Imps? A lot of people have been mentioning these as well. Nightmare Imps have been in the series before, but only in one main game, which truthfully Doom 64 is not exactly a main game. It's more of a sort of bonus side game for just exclusive for the Nintendo 64, and that's the only time we've really seen these guys. We've not seen them in any game since, apart from mods, of course. So are we going to see them now? It'd be a bit weird, but of course it could happen. I think we might see a different variant of Imp, because we saw the spiked ones in the trailer. A lot of people going, this is a new Imp here. I don't think it is. I think the Imps are just evolved. When I say evolved, I mean that the developers have obviously looked at the criticism of the Imps, and they see that people want a bit more of an old style. So I think they're going to sort of bring it into the Doom storyline as they've been evolved. So I reckon that's what their imps are. I don't think they're nightmare imps. I can see nightmare imps kind of working, same as a nightmare spectre that we could see as well. But I don't know if that's going to be likely. So I wouldn't put your hopes up if you're one of the people waiting to see a nightmare imp or a nightmare spectre. But it'd be really cool to see what they would look like in this time. They might not do that because there's already, especially with that nightmare spectre, there's already 2 different demon variants out there. The demon and spectre, they might not want to do that. What about Mancubus? Is he going to get a new look? I think he is. I believe that the Mancubus is going to get either an evolved look. I don't know if there's going to be a new variant of him, like the Cyber Mancubus. There might be. He's one of them enemies you sort of can upgrade, because you just give him the weapons that he has instead of like the Baron of Hell. He has like the fireballs on him, so he doesn't really have any more weapons apart from them swords that we get. The Mancubus, his main weapons are really not on him. They're not like the Imp's fireballs. They actually are just like everyday weapons with the Mancubus. So, and he's that power core thing he has in his chest, similar to the jetpack with the Revenant. So that means they could have a much more variety of weapons. We could see a plasma version. I don't know why they would do that, because obviously we got the Arachnotron. But there is like a set of different ways that the Mancubus can have upgrades. And when you look at the trailer, they look like, speaking of one of the Hell Knights, it looked like they had like an upgraded system as well. So the Hell Knight kind of had a weird armor. I don't know, it was only one dead one we saw. So it looks like every enemy is going to get some kind of upgrade. Maybe this is what they mean by double the enemy types. A lot of them are going to have a harder version of themselves. So the Baron of Hell will have the sword version, the Hell Knight will have an armoured version. And maybe the Imps have that more spiked version. Maybe there's more like elite enemy types of the same enemy we've already seen. So obviously the elite Baron, elite Imp, etc. That's always a possibility. I don't think that's going to happen, but enemies are clearly evolving in Doom Eternal. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is the Doom multiplayer enemies. Okay, are any of these going to show up? I've talked briefly over this before, but it's time to go over a bit more detail. Are we going to see these people again? I really can't see these being in the actual campaign. It's possible for enemies like the Harvester, because they have that more of a plasma-ish weird attack. But enemies like the Prowler, I don't see them working because they just fly around. And yeah, they sort of attach themselves to walls and jump for the player. I can't see them working in a situation like this. But enemies like the Harvester have a chance. And that's really it, really. I don't know what else to say about that. I predict no. But I can see why people would say yeah to the multiplayer enemies making their first appearance in the campaign. But I'm going to say no, I don't believe that in a minute. So anyway, I know I've kind of gone over everything that everyone thinks is going to be in the game so far, and I've kind of shut down most of them. I've not really talked about any new enemies yet, so nothing we've seen so far in the Doom universe. I think I'll have to make another one in the future. To be truthful, I don't actually know what to say about new enemy types. I think it's too open at the minute, I guess you could say, on what the possibilities could be. There's like thousands and thousands of possibilities what these enemies could be. But if I had to put them in a separate category, I'll say we're definitely going to see the traditional Doom enemy types, such as just the ones that throw fireballs and things like that. So they're not going to try nothing too crazy with new enemy types. I think that's going to add a bit more variety for the player to rip and tear. So maybe a Baron-ish kind of enemy that hangs back and shoots plasma balls or something like that. Kind of a variety of, or a combination of 2 different enemies, like a Baron and a Mancubus. They're not going to, like I said, they're not going to go too crazy with the enemy types, I don't think. But I still can't wait to see what kind of hellish creatures they can come up with, especially that tentacle one. I can't wait to see how they play in the game. I'm pretty sure, by the way, he's going to be some kind of boss. So yeah, when I come up with a better list of brand new enemy types, I would definitely have to upload that. But I want to take a bit more time with that, look into different possibilities, and obviously come up with a better list, because at the minute I am still kind of unsure and uncertain what we're going to see. Every time I pretty much get asked this topic of what brand new enemy types we're going to see, I kind of think I don't actually know. So I need to take some more time in that, but hopefully I get a video up soon about that the more I think about it. Because I said, I can think of some enemy types in my head, but I just don't know if they fit into the Doom universe that well. Because double the enemy types really it's shocking. It's so exciting for me because Doom enemies are actually my favourite thing about the whole Doom. Like a lot of people as well, not only just about the fast action and the gameplay that we got, but it's just the enemies and the obstacles really you get in the way. Like the Mancubus, the Revenant, they've always been some of my favourites. I've always loved playing and killing the Revenants. So yeah, what do you guys think? What about the enemies I've mentioned in this video, like the returning enemies? Do you think we're going to see any of the enemies returning from games like Doom 3 or maybe the Doom 64 Nightmare Imp? Or do you think it's going to be a brand new set of enemy types and they're not really going to focus on bringing back enemies but just making new ones? Because honestly, that's what I'm thinking at this point. So anyway, let me know in the comments down below and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.